Welcome to Lift Up Nations. I'm Robb Leech, and today's episode is Adam Meyers' testimony. How you doing, Adam?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Rob. I appreciate it.
No problem. So tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into your testimony.
Well, my name's Adam Meyers. I've been a police officer for 23 years. I'm currently a captain with the Hartford Township Police Department in Wisconsin. And back on April 8th, 2016, I was involved in a critical incident. I had used deadly force on someone who had armed themselves with a hatchet.
And what happened with that after that situation happened?
What happened with that is I struggled with my mental health, both personally and professionally. I had a lot of poor coping strategies like alcohol, casual sex, marijuana, self-harm, a lot of self-destructive behavior. So I was suffering in silence for many, many years.
Okay. So any other thing you want to state, like what you do now, like into present day that people can adhere to?
Yeah, for many years after my shooting, I suffered in silence. Many nights I went to bed and I prayed to God that I wouldn't wake up. Him and I had some pretty serious conversations. I wasn't very happy with him a lot of the times, but the journey I'm on now is because this is a journey he wants me to be on, and I went through hell because I'm supposed to be doing this right now, and I see that now. At the time, I didn't see it. What I wanted to do wasn't the plan. What I wanted to do didn't matter. But what I went through did matter, and it's important now because God wanted me to share my experience and wanted me to put myself out there in order to help others, and that's what I'm doing now.
Oh, great. So that'll bring us into your testimony. So
Okay.
what did your childhood look like, if Jesus was in it or not? What was it?
Yeah,
was
Jesus.
He in your life?
He was. I was born and raised Lutheran. I was baptized at an early age. I was confirmed, and I went to the church every Sunday. Went to school every Sunday, and even went to youth group every Wednesday. So I grew up believing in God, and even when I was little, I don't remember exactly what it was called, but I remember the moment because my mom brought me into her bedroom, and she had this little book with a lot of different colors, and she explained the different colors, and they were something to do with letting God into your heart. And I remember doing that. I remember it like it was yesterday. So God has always been a part of my life, even when I forgot about him, even when I didn't want to follow him, even when I didn't think he was around. He's always been there.
So let's go through your childhood and tell us a little bit about what happened, and as you progressed into a teenager, adult, and then some of the things that happened in your life that actually made you struggle.
Sure. All my life I wanted to be a cop. I was born and raised in the city of Racine, which is in Wisconsin. Highway 20 goes in and out of the city of Racine, and my parents said every time I'd hear a siren, I'd race up to the window, I'd look outside, and I'd see the police car, and it's like, oh, an car, because of the sirens,
Yeah.
And they told me the first time that I saw an car man or police officer get out of the squad car, I looked at them and I was like, I want to be an car man. So I did everything I thought was necessary to grow up and become an car man, a police officer. I went to elementary school. I had a learning disability. I struggled at times. There was actually a few teachers that said to my parents, although I didn't know about it, don't be surprised if Adam doesn't graduate. That was kind of the common theme through elementary, middle, and high school. I did graduate, and I stayed out of trouble. I graduated from high school, graduated from college, went into the Army, became a military policeman in the Army, and then luckily, after my Army career, after 5 years, I went back home to Racine and was able to become a police officer in my hometown where it all started. So life life was pretty good. I mean, I had mom and dad in my life all the time, and a younger sibling, a sister named Amy, and um, we were the average family, and we weren't rich by any means, but our parents provided what we needed, and that was important, and taught us good morals and good ethics and things that are instilled in me as to this day. Something that I
Okay. So how did that actually where'd you go to college? What did you do in college? Did you stay
I
long? Did
went.
you
Yeah, I went to college at Gateway Technical College in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and Racine, Wisconsin. Did some night school while I was working full time at a retail store called Shopko,
okay.
and I was a loss prevention specialist checking or catching shoplifters. So I found that exciting. And yeah, after I got my college degree, my criminal justice degree, I joined the Army. I became a military policeman in the Army. I didn't go overseas. I didn't see any conflicts or anything like that, but I did get stationed at Fort McClellan, Alabama, for training in the military police school, and then I went to El Paso, Texas, Fort Bliss, which is right there near the border, where I was a military policeman for a total of 5 years.
Cool. That
Yep.
sounds fun.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I mean, I was married. I got married to my high school sweetheart, Stephanie. Had two daughters, Sydney Marie and Peyton Elizabeth. My daughters are 23 and 27 now. Unfortunately, the marriage ended. We got a divorce, but we're cordial now and we get along, pretty well.
Good.
And I was blessed. I guess you could say I was blessed after when I got a divorce, because she didn't go after my retirement. She didn't. It wasn't. It was a very cordial process. It was the marriage just ended, and then we just focused on raising our daughters and what was best for our daughters. So that worked out very well.
Good. So let's go into as you're in the being a police officer, let's go through that process of, like, you had Jesus in your life,
Yeah,
you had this situation, then it sounds like you struggled with him being there at some point to feel like
I
he was
did.
there.
Yeah, I did. I knew he was there every step of the way, but I just wasn't acknowledging him. And my shooting happened on Friday, April 8th, 2016. It was 5:15 p.m., very busy day. Hundreds of people in the store. My shooting happened inside Walmart.
Mm.
And so I responded, and it was for a woman who was also struggling with mental health. She was a, a patient at a mental health state-run facility, and she was out on good behavior. And she was
Mhm.
struggling, and her chaperones said it was time to leave, and she refused to leave. So they contacted the police because she had a history of violence. And we went there, and she wouldn't listen to me. She had a hatchet in her hand. She kept coming after me, and I ended up shooting her twice. And um, she had died several hours later.
Mm.
And I know when I pulled the trigger, I not only did I take her life, but I changed my life and everybody else's life that was in the store that witnessed it or even heard the gunshots. And that's something I take seriously, something I think about every single day of my life. Now the next day, what I did was I wasn't sure what to do, honestly. So I went to one of the local churches because it was three and a half hours, 4 hours away from where my church was. And
Mhm.
I remember walking into the church, and there must have been some kind of conference going on because it was Saturday morning. And I remember speaking with a woman, and she said, "How can I help you?" And I said, "Can I please speak with a pastor? I'd like to talk to a pastor." And she said, "Well, I think they're all busy. What is this about?" And I said, "Well, I'm a police officer, and I shot and killed somebody yesterday." And then she said, "Well, I think we can find somebody." So um, that was good. And I sat
Yeah,
down
that
with
was
the
good.
pastor, and yeah, and to this day, I barely remember the conversation, what we talked about, but I just knew that morning I had to go. I had to go to church. I had to go speak with a pastor, hopefully for some guidance, for some advice, something, because it's not normal to go to work and kill somebody like that. I mean, is it possible? Sure, but is it are probable? No, you're probably not going to do that. Well, this was my reality now, so I went back to my faith and my belief in God, and I went there because I thought that was the right thing to do. But after that, it just, everything went downhill with poor coping and pretty much ignoring my faith, my beliefs, everything.
Did you stay with the force after that, or did you?
I did. My shooting happened in 2016, and it wasn't until 2022 when 2021, I finally said enough is enough. I want to get the right kind of help. And I was diagnosed unfit for duty. I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder, PTSD, acute stress with dissociative features, and I couldn't go back to work. So I requested a leave of absence, 90-day leave of absence. I was going to therapy, getting better. And then after that 90-day leave of absence, I met with my chief, and he said, we're not extending your leave of absence. You can either resign or we're terminating you. And that was rough because I was there for 14 years. I had never been disciplined. I received medals. So I was terminated, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do next because all I knew was police work. So my sister Amy said, why don't you move down here? Why don't you move back by family? And that's what I decided to do. And she let me move into the basement of her house, and I did that. And secretively behind my back, I'm blessed that she did this because she was looking for a therapist for me. She was on the outside looking in, realizing that I needed help, and she found somebody for me and somebody that I see now. And then I started going back to church with her. And it seemed like every time Jason, he's our lead pastor, like he was speaking to me. Every time he would give a sermon, it seemed like, wow, he knows exactly what I'm going through. He knows everything about me, even though he doesn't, because I was new. And it's like, I just need to get back to having God in my life because everything is better. Everything was better. I look back throughout my life, and every time I leaned on him and talked to him, everything seemed to work out. One way or another, everything worked out. And I just had to, have faith that where I am is where I'm supposed to be, because that's where God wants me to be, regardless if I understand it or want to be there. That's tough. Too bad, Adam. So it just all worked out because after about a year of putting myself first and getting healthy, I thought to myself, I want to be a cop again. So I started applying, and I was able to get hired back. And now I'm a police captain with a police department in Wisconsin.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's kind of full circle.
Yeah.
But is there any thing that you were dealing with that you think that somebody that would be listening to this would want to hear that you might?
Yeah, I was
like, I know everybody has that point where it's the lowest point that they,
right. If your viewers can see this tactical vest, a lot of police officers wear this, and this is a separate patch. But what I did was my poor coping involved alcohol, casual sex, and drugs. That was my reality at the time. And when I say alcohol, I abused alcohol. I just didn't have a six-pack. I abused it. And what I mean by that is, I have an example here. This is a bottle of 750 milliliter of vodka, and I would drink that in less than 30 minutes. I would also make my own cocktails. I have a simulated wine glass here. I would fill up the wine glass, and sometimes I would, add NyQuil or ZQuil or whatever medicines in the medicine cabinet. One time I reached in there, my oldest daughter had some cough medicine, prescribed cough medicine. I poured it in there, made my own cocktail. I just wanted to numb my feelings, numb my pain, kind of escape from my reality. And another way I did that is with casual sex. I would meet women online, and we'd have sex, sometimes within 30 minutes of meeting. And sex is, to me, it's special. It's something you share with somebody you love, you care about, somebody who's very important to you. You don't just do that with everybody. And I was doing that. And there was one moment when I just got done having sex with a woman, and I was laying in bed with her, and I'm thinking, you got to stop this, Adam. I started not liking myself. I just didn't like who I was becoming. And, I would worry about what if I got her pregnant? What if I caught an STD? But even those worries and those stressors wasn't enough for me to stop. So that was another way I coped. And another way is I tried marijuana. All my life, I prided myself in never doing drugs. And I smoked marijuana, and I tried a marijuana gummy, and I just didn't care. I didn't care. It was self-destructive behavior. It was selfish. I was just trying to fix it myself, which was impossible. And until I came to terms with, you need help, Adam, and reach out again to God, and realizing I need to get healthy because this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to put myself out there, help other people, be transparent about my experience. And then I started getting healthy. But it took 6 years, easily 6 years to get back on track. And it was horrible. But I truly believe I went through hell because God wanted me to share my experience and help others. That was what he wants me to do.
Great. So tell us a little bit about what you do now to help others in the same situation.
I'm not only am I a police captain, but I'm a certified peer specialist in the state of Wisconsin. So I can meet with other police officers, other first responders, pretty much anybody. And because of my lived experience, I can speak with them and kind of mentor them and be there for them when they're struggling. I'm also the founder of Stop the Threat, Stop the Stigma. I established Stop the Threat, Stop the Stigma in hopes that by sharing my experience, it'll reach other people and let them know that it's okay to talk about your mental health. You're not alone. Please don't suffer in silence. And it's been working. It's been helpful. It's been working. And I'm just hoping that by sharing my experience, I'm able to help just one more person, because that's truly what it's all about. I mean, there's so many people that are struggling with mental health, or who have struggled or know somebody who has. And it's okay to get help. It's okay to support somebody who gets help. Unfortunately, there's a stigma associated with that. And I think far too often, especially with first responders, they don't reach out for help because of that stigma, because they're worried that if they ask for help, they'll be shamed, they'll be criticized, they might lose their job. And if they lose their job, how are they supposed to support their family or pay their mortgage or their car payment or their boat or anything like that? So I'm hoping that by just letting people know what I went through, they can relate to it and get help if they need it.
That's great. Is there so that brings me to the final part where is there anything you would like to leave to somebody that would watch this that would help them get through something of the same nature? I always ask.
Right. I would say
somebody always has some kind of profound statement that they.
Right. I would say it's okay to talk about your mental health. You're not alone. Please don't suffer in silence. Listen to people that know about trauma. Listen to your pastor. If you're religious, reach out to God, ask for help. There's plenty of resources out there, and there's plenty of people that want to help you, genuinely want to help you, and not because they're getting paid for it, because they truly want to make sure that you're okay and to help you. Through my journey, I truly believe that when I pass away, I'll be in heaven. And I also believe that her name was Melissa. That's who I killed. And I truly believe that when I go to heaven, I'll meet Melissa, and she won't be struggling with mental health. And I'm hoping that she welcomes me and everything's okay. And I believe it will be.
Yes.
And if you're struggling, please listen to people who know what they're talking about. I didn't do that. I figured I could take care of it myself. I couldn't. I figure if I just kept going, everything would fall into place. It didn't. Not until I started listening to people and decided to get help. And I wish I would have done that years ago, because if I would have done that 4, 5, 6 years ago, I think how better off I would be right now.
That's great. Now, I do ask the person that actually comes on the show to pray at the end of it. I don't know if you're comfortable with that, but
Yeah, I am. I'm okay with
I
that.
do it because it's about you and who you are. So God will speak through you and what He wants to say to other people. So
Okay. Yep. So I want to give a prayer.
Yep.
There was always a prayer that I said. I was always, before my shift, even before this podcast, I was like, God, please protect me and guide me. Help me to do what is right. Please protect my family, my friends, and my enemies, and help me to become a better person. And please help me just reach one more person. Please let them know that there is help out there and that they're not alone, and you are there for them, and you can be their strength when they feel like they have none. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, brother.
You're
Great
welcome.
testimony.
Thank you.
I appreciate all you do. And
Thank you.
once we share this to other people, I will put your information on there so they can reach out to you directly.
Okay, great.
But that being said, it brings me to my announcements. If you'd like to come on my show or tell a testimony or have a live baptism at Lewis Beach, we do live baptisms from about this time till September, October, November, somewhere around there, depending on how cold it is. I personally do them. Also, we're actually doing worship nights this year in July, August, and September at a local arena that actually we were able to rent. And we're going to have a conference at the beginning of next year for men and women for about Christ. So all that being said, you can reach me at 302-313-6190, or you can reach out to me on my website at liftupnations.com or email at liftupnations@gmail.com. Thank you, Adam, for all you do and everything you've experienced in your life. I know God is with you, and He will provide the future of what you're doing to help people with the stigma. So,
amen. Thank you.
You're welcome, brother. And I hope to stay in touch and we can actually do other stuff in the future.
Absolutely.
But that being said, I thank you, and to everyone on here, God bless. And until next time.